It's checking connection, and it's live. It's live here. It's live there. It's so exciting.
All right.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? How's
everyone doing out there tonight?
We are all excited because we also have Instagram Live going on in another camera. Hi, Instagram.
Hello to our Instagram.
Yes.
Folks out there.
We're very excited. Today is April 11th, Sunday, April 11th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Facebook Live Time live stream with Radlyn and John from Gardner and Mendoza, immigration attorneys here in Virginia Beach, Virginia, representing clients from all around the globe. Anyhow, we're so happy to be back because we were gone for Easter break. Did I introduce myself already yet? No. I'm Radlyn Mendoza. This is my law partner and husband, John Gardner, and we are the owners at Gardner Mendoza. And every Sunday, unless it's Easter or some other type of holiday, we appear live on Facebook, YouTube, I believe it's LinkedIn now, Twitter, and now we're live here on Instagram to answer your immigration questions as well as to give immigration updates, but most importantly, to answer your immigration questions. And we've been doing this a little over a year now, and we love to come on Facebook Live. It's so much fun. People ask great questions, and we're looking forward to seeing your questions in the comments. So please get them going. And John's going to tell you what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, what we're going to do. Well, every week we start with an inspirational immigration story of the week. And so we're going to do that. Radlyn's going to do that for us tonight. We are also going to give you some immigration updates, and I'm going to talk about some updates to the Virginia marijuana law and also caution you about what that means for non-U.S. citizens, something you got to be careful about. And then, as Radlyn just said, we're also going to answer your questions. That's the most important thing that we like to do. So if you have a question for us, an immigration question, a legal question, a question that you think we might be able to point you in the right direction to have answered, please put it in the comments and we will get to it tonight. All right. With that said, I will give you one warning, and that is that what we do here is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not technically legal advice. Okay.
I did not know how to get around your Facebook because I don't think it's an app. Wait.
Oh, yes. She's using my.
Yes. And welcome to our Instagram viewers out there. If you guys have a question, please pop them in comments. We've never gone live with Instagram. It's always been Facebook because we're like all old and stuff.
No, that's right.
I think Facebook is for the older, more mature set.
I mean, Radlyn's making TikToks now, folks.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't seen them,
follow me
really
on
good.
TikTok. Rad Immigration Lawyers, because Immigration Lawyers was already taken. So it's Rad Immigration Lawyers. So check it out. It's been really fun to do it, but I've had some frustrating moments for sure with it, with video editing just generally, but it's been fun. Let's see. We've got Miss Evelina. Hello, Miss Evelina. We've got cousin Jimmy, Aunt Sue.
Jimmy.
Look, Merrick is on. Paula. Yeah. So we're rocking and rolling here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. So what is it my turn to talk about? I'm trying to share this to, our personal pages, but it's just, wait, no.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and get started with the inspirational immigration story of the week. And then while you're doing that, folks, get your questions queued up, get them in the comments. I have a couple of questions that I'm going to be answering tonight about the immigration stuff because I already have had people asking me, and so I'm bringing their questions to the broadcast tonight.
Look, it's Jen Mata. How's it going, Jen? Great to see you. Lovely. Tomas's is on. Thank you guys so much for joining. We're super pumped up that you guys are here.
Seconds, a little bit on there. I love that.
Okay. I'm making a few adjustments here. If you guys saw our setup, you wouldn't believe it's very high tech. Our computer is on a Cox box. A Cox cable box with some old equipment in it, and an immigration source book from like 2017. That's old now, old law. So
yeah, I know it's hard to believe watching us, but
I know
we're not in a professional studio. I know it seems like we are, but we're not.
Yeah, Merrick knows what the studio looks like. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about, as we do every single week, our inspirational immigration story. And John and I and the family, we went to Santa Monica, California for spring break. It was beautiful. It was lovely. We just picked a place and went, and we had a wonderful time.
We did. It was really, really nice. Really, thank you, California, for having us. It was fantastic.
And we thought California was going to be a semi-shut down just from all the news, but no such shutdown. We saw no sign of any type of
evidence of anything.
Yeah, it was a little scary open, like Florida open.
Yeah, restaurants, shops. It seemed wide open to me.
It was packed. Anyway, we were able to see one of our godparents and a woman that I certainly had around in my life from friends with my parents. Her name is Mila Gachalian, and I knew her as a mother, a teacher, a business person. She was a real estate agent. She owned a restaurant with her husband, and just a pillar in the community, and always supported me and everything that I wanted to do. And I would see her, probably once a week, because our customers would come in and shop at the grocery store frequently. And she and her husband became sponsors at our wedding when we got married 22 years ago. 22 years ago. Yes, in 1998. Whoa,
23 in October. That's right.
So we had the opportunity to have lunch with her, and she took us out to lunch. All 5 of us, we tried to pay, but she insisted. And we're going to pick her as our inspirational immigration story. She, I don't know what you guys did during coronavirus, but she knocked out a book. Which did you see that? Yeah.
So anybody, if you want to, let me pull this.
It is on Amazon. It is on Barnes and Noble. And the book is called From Pain to Absolute Peace. And I was able to read it on the plane on the way back. And it's just so raw and open, and I just couldn't believe some of the things that were in here and how brave she must have been to write this book. I mean, it just has so much. So please pick it up. I was absolutely inspired to read her life story. Part of it also had to do with her journey to the United States as an immigrant, working as a teacher, and being a Navy spouse and all of that, and going through these things with her now ex-husband and her 2 sons. And in the end, it's just a wonderful story.
Yeah.
A lot of pain, a lot of heartache, but there is light at the end. And I just was so blown away that a woman that I knew, grew up with, certainly looked up to. And she's, again, I don't want to guess ages, but I mean, she's got to be.
Don't do it.
I'm not going to guess. You can't guess for Filipinos. You have no idea how old Filipino aunties are. I mean, they could be like 70 or you can't tell. I don't know. But, I just never knew. You don't really know what's going on behind closed doors. And, what we saw was a very successful person who had everything together, family life together. And that just wasn't so. And again, such a brave account of her life story in this. And I just, for someone that in that generation to write a book like this, I mean, my mom certainly is not telling any stories like this, but hats off to you, Nina and Mila. We really, really, really love you. And thank you so much for.
Yeah, Nina, thank you again for having us and taking us out to lunch and showing us around. Really appreciate it.
And it's never too late to write your story. I think everyone should go and write their book, even if you don't publish it like she did. She's a published author, but
you can
inspiration.
Get it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah, you can get it downloaded on Kindle. But thank you guys for listening to that inspirational story. We just are kind of blown away by it. Awesome. What else are we talking about today? Do we have some questions?
Awesome. We already do have a question.
Okay, well let's
And I read it already, and if you want to get to it right away, basically interview, naturalization, everything went well, except there's waiting for a criminal background check. The questions were, what's the point of having fingerprints taken? And 2, how long does it take for the criminal background check to come back?
All right. So what's the point of the fingerprint? Yeah, the background check should have revealed any type of criminal record history that you Okay, I'm gonna just should I pop this question up?
Yes.
Or is it too long?
I'm sorry. You know what? That's exactly what.
Yeah. There's the question, guys. Gabby, thank you so much for listening in. I've seen you before, so we really appreciate your support in asking this question. I don't know. The live video is paused. Hold on a second. My child is trying to call during Facebook Live.
One of our daughters is calling.
This kid knows we're on Facebook Live right now. It's, I don't know, senior brain. All right. So criminal record history, how long does it take? It really depends on the type of background that they're doing. The officer said it's a criminal record check, but it may be something different. It may be just a general background check. And yes, you're right. The biometrics are to do a criminal background check. Maybe there's something wrong with the prints, though. I mean, that's highly possible. They would have told you, though, if there was something wrong with the prints. I've had this happen before with my clients who their prints were not good and they weren't taken for whatever reason. One was a pharmacist, one was an older person, one worked in, with cleaning supplies all the time. So the fingerprints were gone and there had to be additional background checks because the biometrics were not done. And so that could be the reason. But however long it takes, it's tough to say. It's tough to say. I mean, hopefully it doesn't take too long, but if the immigration officer should be making that decision, and I know you don't want to hear this, 120 days, if they don't make a decision within the 120-day period, Gabby, then you actually have the right to file a lawsuit against them and force them to make a decision, whatever that decision is. And we've done this. What we typically do, though, before filing that lawsuit is get in touch with the immigration office, usually the director, and say, hey, look, my client wants me to file this lawsuit because, they've been waiting the 100 days. And, are you going to move this case? Can we make a decision? And usually after we alert the office that we are planning on filing a lawsuit, they go ahead and make that decision. So hopefully that answers your question, Gabby. Sit tight. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. It usually isn't. There's just probably something that needs to be, maybe there was like a double name or, I wouldn't worry too much though. It's common. So hang tight. You'll be good. And if you're not, give us a call. Hopefully you don't. I don't like to, we have to do it sometimes, like sometimes the office, they'll say, hey, we've got to do a background check, and maybe it gets pushed to the side and they don't come back to it. And sometimes we have to remind them, hey, look, this has been pending for 120 days and it's time, or we're going to have to file this lawsuit. So hopefully it doesn't get to that point, but if it does, you do have a remedy there. Thank you so much for that question, Gabby. Look, and Evelina says she's writing a book. That's awesome. See, everyone should write a book.
And she has a question there as well.
Okay.
You want to pop that up in there? This is a good question. We've had this question before from different folks.
Okay.
It's kind of a recurring question.
Yeah. So can you clarify what a permanent resident is? In the past, people have treated me as if I were undocumented and have said hurtful comments as if a permanent resident card is equated to being undocumented, although I'm naturalized now. Those comments still are directed towards my family because people are uneducated. So yes, great question, Ms. Evelina. So people who are in the United States as lawful permanent residents or green card holders are not undocumented. They have every right to be here. You can live in the United States as a lawful permanent resident. You pay your taxes. You can do every single thing that a U.S. citizen can do except to be able to vote. And sometimes even permanent residents can vote in their regional elections. Don't go out and vote, please.
Yeah, don't.
But there are some regions, not this region, that allow lawful permanent residents to vote in local elections. But first of all, let me just say that people who make hurtful comments to non-U.S. citizens, you don't even know, you have no clue what a person's immigration status is. I mean, certainly people have come up to me and, asked me where I'm from and what country I'm from. And, I was born here. You can't just look at a person and think, okay, well, this person is XYZ and therefore they're undocumented, or this person is not a U.S. citizen yet and therefore they're undocumented. I mean, it's not like U.S. citizen, and undocumented. Those are not the only two immigration categories that we have in this country. There's so many different categories. And a lawful permanent resident is just right up there. You know, I mean, they can become naturalized U.S. citizens if they so choose. I always tell the story of my mom. She waited 30 years before she became a naturalized U.S. citizen. And so, you know, just kind of going back to my initial point is I don't care whether you're not a U.S. citizen, not a lawful permanent resident. If you're undocumented, nobody should be saying hurtful comments to begin with, no matter what anybody's status is, what anybody looks like. But I totally get this. And no, there are so many different categories. Lawful permanent resident, you are lawful in the United States to live and work and freely travel. There's so many other different categories. We have people living among us, people here on NATO visa, people here on temporary protected status. They have permission to be here. People here on student visas. They're here on tourist visas. There's so many different visa types. They're here on investor visas. You know, the person that's running the French bakery down the street could be on an E2 visa. And so, no, you can't just assume because, you know, somebody has an accent or whatever people are assuming in hurtful comments. And I'm sorry that that is happening to you. I mean, but
yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize they think that you're either a citizen
right,
or you're not. And people just don't realize that there are all these things in between, as Radlyn just said. I mean, you know, maybe you're a chemistry professor at the university. Maybe it never crossed your mind that person was here on a visa to do research at the university. Or
right.
I represented a gentleman who was the conductor of a symphony orchestra of a major European city. I won't say which one, but and he got a ticket. He got a reckless driving ticket driving from Newport News, and he couldn't come back to the hearing because his visa was going to expire. He wasn't allowed to stick around to do that. So there are people with different reasons. And the permanent resident, as Radlyn just said, you know, those are folks that are oftentimes living here for years and years and years. Some live their whole lives here and never choose to become a citizen. That's completely their choice.
Right.
Absolutely. We were just talking about that a couple days ago.
We were. So Evelina's saying that they get offensive and ask us if we vote, and that if we don't naturalize, we will be deported one day. Well, people should just mind their own business.
Yeah. You know, if you want to vote, if that's important to you to participate in the government in the United States, then yeah, you should become a citizen. That's a good reason to become a citizen, so you can vote and you won't get deported, obviously. I mean, unless you commit a crime, it's possible then, but that's a whole nother,
right.
That's a whole nother road to go down. But there are some crimes that you can get deported for if you're not a U.S. citizen.
You're right. And Evelina, I think it's just the misconceptions that people have. Again, the black and white situation where, like, okay, if you're not a U.S. citizen, then you're everything else and you can be deported and we can't kick you out, or whatever it is that the people say. I just, turn the other way, try not to get mad, and use up all of your beautiful energy. Just concentrate all on that book and put it all in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll make you feel better. Look, the title of this book is From Pain to Absolute Peace. And I think she got there by writing this, this book.
I think it's just a lot of people don't know. We see this all the time, and we hear this all the time. Every time we are at a function, the first, people find out, oh, you guys are immigration lawyers. The first questions are always about these border crossings, the southern border, as if the only thing that happens in immigration law in the United States is the situation on the Mexican border, U.S.-Mexican border. So yeah, we know where you're coming from. Just
hang tight, hang in there. Yeah. All that energy, put it right in that book.
Put it in the book, smile politely, and just and educate them. Let them know. Say, hey, well, now you've asked. This would be a great opportunity for me to clarify some things for you,
right.
and then you'll know, and then you won't be saying those things anymore.
Right, absolutely. All right, cool. Quick, that was an awesome question and discussion. Yeah. Let's see if.
And again, more common than you think. I've even had judges say to me, "Well, Mr. Gardner, it's not complicated. You're either a U.S. citizen or you're undocumented, one or the other." And I'm thinking, wow. I mean, that's a judge in a black robe sitting on a bench.
We have written those quotes down before, just for fun. Like how many times people have said that.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. You're either a citizen or you're not. Well, actually, that's a way more nuanced than that. So we have a question from Instagram from Barry Fashionable 20. Thank you so much. It says, can someone whose TPS was denied, can they reopen their case? Very good question. It really depends on the reason for the denial. Well, you can always ask for a reopen. You can always do a motion to reopen and refile, but it does depend on the reason and whether we think, hey, is this a good reason to do a motion to reopen and be successful at it? I mean, we don't want to just be filing motions to reopen if there's not a possibility in winning that. So hopefully that answers your question. Please reach out, DM me if you need more clarification on that. So we're like looking here, looking there.
Yeah, this is great.
All right.
This is great.
Okay, why don't you talk about your marijuana stuff?
Yes. Okay, so we'll shift gears a little bit. And for those of you who have been following this news, the General Assembly approved legislation on Wednesday that makes marijuana legal in the Commonwealth of Virginia starting on July 1st of this year. So this July 1st coming
They accelerated that, right? Because it wasn't going to be 2024.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that is still 2024, like selling it, manufacturing it, that kind of stuff. But they've moved up the date to have it legally for a simple possession. And there's some details here that I'm going to talk about right now. Before I get too far into this, I want to remind all of you, since we were just talking with Evelyn about being a citizen or being a permanent resident or here on some kind of a visa, again, be careful, because if you are not a U.S. citizen, okay, if you are a permanent resident with a green card or you're on a visa of some sort or TPS or DACA or any of these other immigration status categories, not always, but sometimes marijuana can still be a problem because it still is considered illegal under federal law. So if you are not a U.S. citizen, just be careful with all of this, okay? Because marijuana can still get you into trouble, okay? But for those of you who are U.S. citizens or are just willing to take the chance, here's what's going on in Virginia. We became the 16th state in the United States now to legalize marijuana in some form. We had decriminalized it already. Okay, so decriminalized means it was still illegal, but if you got convicted, it was a civil penalty that you had to pay for having it. We now, the General Assembly has now said, as of starting July 1st, it actually will be legal to possess, okay? But let's talk about some of the details here. This is up to 1 ounce of marijuana. So you can only possess up to 1 ounce of marijuana, and you have to be 21 years or older. So if you're under 21, there's still some problems I'll get to, but if you're over 21 or older, you can possess up to 1 ounce and it is legal. All right. If you're caught with more than an ounce, then you will have a $25 fine. So what the decriminalization part has become the more than an ounce civil penalty part. Adults caught with more than 1 pound of marijuana can be charged with a felony punishable by between 1 and 10 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. So if you have a pound or more than a pound, excuse me.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good amount for sure. Okay. And all of this will have to be revisited in 2024 because when the manufacturing and selling becomes legal, that's going to change the dynamic here. Okay. What the General Assembly was concerned about, and the governor as well, just a real quick backstory. The concern was, this is going to be kind of odd. Like, we're going to make this legal in 2024. It just seems kind of unfair for people that have simple possession between now and then to have this on the record, since we've already announced as a state that we're going to legalize it. That just creates an odd situation. And so they kind of had this in between where, okay, everything will go into effect in 2024. Between now and then, starting in July, simple possession of 1 ounce, up to 1 ounce is legal. All right. Sales of marijuana will remain illegal up until 2024, of course. And the bill or the law, specifically also prohibits sending something of value and then adding marijuana as a free gift as part of the sale. This is something that's become very popular in Washington, D.C., where you buy something and then you're really not buying the thing. You're just paying for the thing, and the free gift is the marijuana. And it's a way for you to basically be buying marijuana, because right now, selling it is still going to be illegal. You can have possession of it, okay? This is kind of weird, but you can possess up to 1 ounce of the marijuana, okay? If you grow it, or it's been gifted to you by somebody, okay? But you still can't buy it and you still can't sell it.
Because we're not going to have dispensaries.
Right, in 2024, all of that's going to change. Folks that are under the age of 21 who are caught with the drug, caught with marijuana, will have a $25 fine and would also be required to enter a substance abuse treatment program. Again, it's going to be illegal to offer it to other people in public as a gift or otherwise, and it's also going to be illegal to be consuming it in public. So we're not quite to this place of these other states, some of them where you can just be smoking it out in public. That's still, you cannot do that. You can be in possession of it, you can grow it, and you can have it gifted to you, and you can gift it to somebody else. You can't buy it, you can't sell it, and you can't be using it in public. Okay.
It's a lot of rules.
Yeah, right, exactly. A first offense, if you are in violation of one of those things, is punishable by a $25 fine. A second offense adds mandatory drug treatment. A third offense constitutes a class 4 misdemeanor, and possession on the grounds of a public K through 12 school while it's open would constitute a class 2 misdemeanor. So there is a harsher penalty if you're on school property, kind of like our gun laws. Gun laws are all like that as well at the federal level as well. And for those of you who are wondering, class 4 misdemeanor, it is a criminal misdemeanor, but it's not a jailable misdemeanor. So you can't go to jail for a class 4, only a class 1 or a class 2. All right. So that's the new law with marijuana. So all of you out there, that's the update. All right. I had some questions already. All right. So if you have any questions about this, you can put them in the comments. But already some folks have asked. One question was, well, what about like I'm driving? Okay. I have marijuana in my car, and what they're doing until 2024, and this may change, but until then, it creates a presumption that you have consumed marijuana if there's an open container found in the passenger area of your vehicle. Okay.
Open container
of something with marijuana in it. Okay. So if you have an open container in the passenger part of anywhere in your car where people sit, then there's a presumption. All right. So if you're traveling with marijuana, I would recommend you keep it in the trunk, even if it's that, you've got that ounce or less. It's fine. It's legal to have it. I wouldn't keep it I would keep it in the trunk while you're driving. Okay.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because, don't do that. Don't have an open container. I don't even know what that looks like. But anyway.
Yeah.
Like a Tupperware container of some sort.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly. Because, again, driving under the influence is driving under the influence. People associate that, of course, with alcohol. A DUI, we all think of that as drinking and driving. But if you read the code section, 18.2-266 of the Virginia Code, it's driving. DUI is driving with a blood alcohol content of a 0.08 or higher, or while impaired due to any self-administered drug. Okay, so that would include marijuana. So if you're smoking marijuana and you're impaired, you can still get a DUI. So again, be careful with that. This is not carte blanche to just smoke and then drive poorly, because if you get pulled over, you're gonna have a problem. All right. Growing your own. So what's the deal with that? That's the other people said, okay, well, John, you told me that this law says that we can grow our own marijuana. Like how much, and what do we do with it? So what the law says is until 2024, the The only way you can obtain the drug is by growing your own or getting it as a gift from someone else. And you can grow up to 4 plants per household. I don't know, this almost seems funny, but you can grow up to 4 plants per household, and they can't be able to be viewed from the public. I mean, from the street. Okay, so they can't be in public view. I'm sorry.
This is very funny.
Brain freezer for a second.
This is hilarious.
Right.
It reminds me of when I was in college, and my buddy and I we were in a study group. We were a marketing study group. I was a business major with a marketing concentration, and we went to our buddy's house. He's a little older guy. I mean, I was early 20s, and he was very old. He was like in his 30s or something. And so Rob and I went in, and we went into this closet. I don't know. I guess we were snooping in his house. That was wrong, but 19, 20 years old. And there's this huge marijuana plant, and it has lights on it and everything, and something like that, right? You got to put it in the closet, put the lights on it.
Right. You can have 4 plants in your household.
Quite large.
But they can't be visible from the street. So you don't want to have them, just right there on the front porch or something where people can see them.
Right. I mean, John has about 40 houseplants.
None of them
He's
are
like
marijuana.
he's like the crazy houseplant guy.
Well, I'm a gardener. I mean,
he's a gardener, right? With no E.
So if you're caught with more than 4 plants, they are different penalties for now. You'll have a $250 fine for between 4 and 10 plants. So if you have 5 to 10 plants, it's a $250 fine. And it goes up to a felony charge if you have more than 50 plants. Okay. And the reason for that makes sense to me anyway, as a criminal defense lawyer. When you have these larger quantities, that no longer is for personal use. Somebody that's got that much marijuana growing in their house is selling it. And until the selling becomes legal, then there has to be some in between. And that's what this is doing, is making the possession okay. But anything that would seem to lead to other people, to selling it to other people, is illegal. Okay.
Wow, this is very interesting development of the marijuana laws in this country right now. It's exciting to watch all of this kind of unfold. But thanks for that.
We've seen
the Virginia Code. That's what's going to happen in the Commonwealth of Virginia. But what is the message, though, to our immigration clients? What's the message?
The message, as I said at the beginning.
This is me beating the drum roll.
This is us beating the. If you are not a U.S. citizen, then you just need to steer clear of it, because marijuana is still a potential problem in a lot of different immigration situations for non-U.S. citizens.
Right.
Okay. So immigration law is federal law, and we're a representative republic with different states. States have sovereignty over certain areas of law. One is their criminal code, but there's also a federal criminal code. And until the federal criminal code decriminalizes marijuana and makes it legal, then, or if some immigration legislation comes along that specifically addresses immigration and makes it, no longer a problem under immigration law.
Right. Well, I mean, for purposes of, say, filing for U.S. citizenship, if you have a marijuana conviction, or if you admit to using marijuana in your application or during your interview, and if it's less than 30 grams, right? And I did the calculation, because you said 1 ounce, and 1 ounce is 28 grams. So it is going to be less than 30 grams, but it's a minefield. I mean, yes, we've had to fight to get citizenship for our clients with marijuana possession. Number one, we have to show that it was less than 30 grams, right? And so with the legalization of marijuana in Virginia or in all these other places, there's probably not going to be a sample, right? Or there's no arrest notes to talk about how much it was, or was it a joint? Was it a so. Right. So that's tough to do. I mean, even when it does, we have to get the arrest records to try to prove that it was less than 30 grams, even though our clients are testifying that, hey, it was a joint. So that's problematic. Traveling with a marijuana conviction or admitting to marijuana conviction as a lawful permanent resident and coming back in, you're gonna have a problem. I promise you. We've worked on this case, and it's devastating. So just be careful, guys.
Yep.
Just stay away from it. That's the bottom line. And we've been saying this probably for the whole year. Anytime we talk about marijuana, you have to stay away from it if you're not a U.S. citizen. It's just that is just the bottom line.
Yep. If marijuana and using it is your dream, then naturalize first.
Your dream. Yeah. Naturalize first and you will be good to go. Okay. I think we have a
question here. Yes. Let's go ahead.
We have this question. I'm not quite sure what this question means. Maybe the person who wrote, I'm going to put it on the screen. And this is Achu. That's cute. That's a cute username.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as a citizen, what is the best way to get a student visa or a work visa canceled from an immigrant? Do you think creating an altercation where they get arrested works? This is great information, FYI. So Achu, thank you so much for the comment on our live stream being great information. We're so happy that it's helpful for you. As to your other question, I'm not sure if I understand the question. Like, how do we get somebody kicked out of the United States on a student visa?
If that's the question, I'm reading it, the way I'm reading it now is, how would the citizen go about creating a problem for somebody on a student visa or a work visa? Should I, maybe get them arrested? No. I mean, why? I guess my question to that would be, why would you want to do that? Why, if somebody is on a student visa or a work visa, I don't know, you might have beef with the person, but creating an altercation with them to get them arrested so that they get into immigration trouble, to me seems like I don't know. That's bad karma. I wouldn't.
I was going to say that too.
Yeah, I wouldn't go down that road.
Yeah,
unless we're misreading this question.
Yeah, unless we're misreading it. And just on another matter, immigration, immigration customs enforcement, they do not like to get into like spats. They just don't get into that stuff. If domestic spats or I have no idea what's going on here, but say a husband and wife got married and then they get mad at each other and the husband goes like, oh, she just married me for the green card, I'm going to go to ICE, and they're not going to, they have so much to do. They may, but it's unlikely that they will. If, you and your spouse have been living together and you've been in a relationship and you're just mad and you're going to go to immigration because that's how you threaten your spouse. They're not going to get into that. But anyhow, sorry, we can't quite answer this. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, that,
Just in a general sense, I guess, as part of the question, yes, domestic assault and battery is one of the charges that sometimes causes trouble.
Yeah.
Crimes of violence where there's a sentence of a year or more, that's even if it's suspended. Theft crimes with a sentence of a year or more can sometimes be trouble.
Right.
Violations of probation, gun charges often can be a problem, and obstruction of justice. Did I already say that one? Obstruction of justice is
violating protective order.
Violating
so we're like
orders.
Throwing all the things out that could be problematic for people who are here.
These are all things that when non-U.S. citizens get convicted of them, they either create a major problem or at the very least a delay in their immigration case. In the case of like a work visa, it might even be that maybe their work visa is through some company overseas. And maybe if they get a conviction, even if it's not a conviction that makes them removable, the company, maybe once that's happened, they don't want to, have the person as part of their work team in the next year or whatever, when they do the visas again for people to come. They say, oh, well, last time you were there, you got in trouble. And so, yes, getting arrested for a non-U.S. citizen is always a dangerous thing.
Right.
But I certainly wouldn't create an altercation as a way to try to get them in trouble. I think that's a broader bad thing to do. Okay. If that's what the question was.
Right. It may not. Maybe
Achu might be like, hey, you guys, I'm not a jerk. That's not what I was asking. I'm asking for a friend.
Well, it's interesting because I have actually been asked this question before. When siblings don't get along, when a sibling petitions for their sibling, the sibling is here, that process takes a really long time. And, maybe the sibling hasn't hung out for the past 15, 20 years. Siblings in the United States. And I've asked the question, like, I want to get my brother or sister deported back to their country. Like, you can't. what are you talking about? They have to do something in order to do that. Once that petition is filed, approved, you've got National Visa Center processing, your sibling or your family member or whatever, they go to their immigrant visa interview, they get issued the visa, they enter the United States on that immigrant visa, they're a lawful permanent resident of the United States. You can't just because you don't like them anymore, or maybe they crossed you, which siblings can do sometimes, you can't just like, hey, you're out. No, that's not the way it works. And anyway.
And for the record, all the things that I was throwing out are like the misdemeanors that I see that people don't think are that serious and still cause a problem. Just to be clear for everybody, once you get into the felony realm, then you really do start to have problems with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So, breaking and entering and malicious wounding.
Tough to get around.
That kind of stuff really is a problem. It's the other stuff that it's not such a serious matter in the state court. It's in the general district court here or the juvenile and domestic relations district court here in Virginia. And you think, oh, well, it's got some probation. This wasn't a big deal. Those are the ones that you got to really be careful with.
Right. And domestic violence is a biggie.
Yeah.
And violating a protective order is so dangerous for non-US citizens. So
yes.
Don't pick up that call, even if she's calling you. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Fraud, avoid fraud crimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We kind of got off on we actually need to really do a criminal law.
We do a little bit of it every week. So.
We do. Right. That's true. But it can be a little dangerous out there. All right. Okay. Any other questions?
All right. So with that, you have some.
Oh yes. I've got an immigration update. And I had a question in our message in our DMs, our direct messages, but I couldn't find it anymore. I couldn't find it again. So whoever DM'd and I think maybe Shelly took it and maybe answered the question. I'm not sure what happened, but so good news for fiancé visas. And certainly we have had a lot of fiancé visa cases that have been stuck, and it's just been terrible. It's been a terrible year for fiancé visa clients because the fiancé visas have not been moving. They have not been a visa category where the State Department is interviewing or the embassies are interviewing our clients, and they're just stuck. So great news. On April 8th, the Secretary of State determined that travel on an immigrant or fiancé visa is in the national interest for purposes of granting exceptions under the geographic COVID proclamation. So what that means is that we've got clients that are stuck in, the Schengen area and Spain and UK and all across the world. And essentially there is a national interest exception for those geographic COVID proclamations, and they will be starting to schedule those fiancé visa interviews. Now, again, the priority is for family members, immediate family members of U.S. citizens, but they are looking at fiancés from the way that I'm reading this as not technically a family member, but in that same category, and that they're going to start prioritizing their interviews. So that's just wonderful, wonderful news for our fiancé visa clients. It's been sad to watch because they've really been it's been a tough year, and our U.S. citizen clients can't sometimes go and visit their fiance. The fiance can't come here, so it's tough. It's tough, when you make that commitment, and you're already saying, yes, when my fiance comes into the United States, I am going to get married within 90 days of their entering the United States. It's tough when that doesn't happen, and we didn't know at the beginning of the COVID-19 that, and then my immigration lawyer says, yeah, the fiancé visa is the fastest one. And it's taken, over a year for some of these cases. So it's been pretty heartbreaking to watch, but hopefully we are going to see light at the end of the tunnel soon. But that is our big immigration update for this week.
Yeah, and we've got some people I want to say hi to. My Aunt Jill jumped on down in South Florida. So happy to see that. Hi, Jill. And I also saw on Instagram here, the Truett House also joining us. So
the Truett House, awesome. Let's see.
Oliver want a
on Instagram.
really beautiful place to go hang out. the Truett House out in Suffolk, check it out. It's really, really amazing.
Yes, we
Great
did our law firm retreat at the Truett House, and got just amazing food, and the place is beautiful, lots of space. The sheets were nice.
Yeah.
everything was great.
Mhm.
Great about it. All right. Any other questions here that we have?
Now we've gotten a request there to talk about visas one night. That's a great idea. We will do that. We'll pick some Sunday that we're going to come on and maybe go through some of the different types of visas that there are, so that you learn more about that.
Absolutely. And so for those of you who are on, we'll just go ahead and reintroduce. My name is Radlyn Mendoza, and this is my law partner and husband, John Gardner, and we are the attorneys at Gardner Mendoza. We founded the law firm 20 years ago. We were just kids back then.
Yeah, we were.
That was in year 2000. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Time flies. Our oldest daughter is going off to college this fall. And we try to come we are here every single week. We changed it from Wednesday to Sunday. Hopefully Sunday is working out well for people. But we're here to give immigration updates and to answer your questions, your immigration questions. You know, sometimes people get stuck on a question and it prevents them from moving on with their case. And we certainly don't want that to happen to you guys. So, yeah.
Right. The law firm was a dream. We launched at a farmhouse in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yes.
The McMurdo Farm.
The McMurdo Farm a long time ago. And we've had a lot of help along the way. I think that maybe your mom is on here. Yep. Your mom's on here. John's parents, my parents have always supported us. And, you know, we couldn't do it without our family. And of course, our law firm family as well. We've got an amazing team. And I don't know if you guys saw the post for this Facebook Live. I do want to brag a little bit. Thank you, Lakeisha's very good information. I do want to brag a little bit. So because this is the reason we're here and why we do what we do. So we had a gentleman reach out to us, and he didn't know whether he wanted to pay a consultation fee. You know, I mean, I get that. There was a problem with his wife's naturalization case. It had been denied. And our marketing manager, Shelly, was like, hey, you know, Radlyn and John get on Facebook Live every week. Why don't you hop on and ask the question? And so he did. He asked the question. I actually answered the question on Facebook Live. Remember it. He booked a consultation with me. Then he hired me to fix the case. And was it last week? Last week, you know, I got a call, an email from the field office director that they reopened his wife's case and approved the naturalization application. So, you know, we kind of I just knew, even from the Facebook Live, that there was a mistake that was made on the application, or application was incorrectly denied. And that happens. Like, people, officers, we all make mistakes. And I was just able to go in and, you know, send a letter, an email, and fix it. And it just felt so good. The clients were so relieved, because what they were looking at was refiling for the wife and going through this whole process of naturalization and having to go. And they live, you know, 6 hours away and would have to come back here again. And, you know, I was just so happy that they were able to come onto our Facebook Live, you know, find comfort in. Sometimes it's hard to hire an attorney without knowing them or talking to them or seeing them. And, you know, I appreciate all of you guys who come, and you're the reason that we're here, and hopefully we can help more people. That was just a success story that, yeah, I don't love to brag, but I felt so good about that. She's a smart cookie. I even called them while I was on vacation, because I was so pumped up. I was like, yes. Right. All right.
I knew that in law school, that it would help to sit close to her.
You guys may have heard the story, but I sat in the very front row. And where did you sit?
The very last row.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you sat like in the middle or something.
No,
right? Okay,
in the back.
But John started moving up, and then he was in the front row with me. It was, I think he sat behind me, actually. All right. Anyway. Oh, Evelina said, okay, I'm going to put this coming up. Hiring y'all was the best thing I ever did.
Oh, thank you for that.
I think awesome. This is a good place to end.
I think so too.
We don't have any other questions.
Yep. If we don't have any more questions, I think so too. We'll just end on that high note right there. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And
If you do have questions, if you think of something right after we're done, let us know and we will get to it. All right. We continue to monitor all of this throughout the rest of the day and, of course, throughout the whole week as well.
right. We say an hour, but we got to go get our kid. She's at the neighbor's house. It's almost 9 and we've got school tomorrow. So anyhow, you guys have a wonderful evening. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. You can always direct message us if you don't want to put in the comments. And of course, all of our contact information is on our Facebook page, our YouTube page. I believe this is also going to Twitter, and thank you, Instagram fam, for joining in as well. We'll dial you guys in every week. All right.
So let's end same way we always do. Two thumbs up, everyone. Have
Thanks,
a wonderful
guys.
week. We'll see you here next Sunday. All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.